Hi, everyone. My name is Kim Holloway, and I am a senior product manager at Amazon. And today we're going to be talking about how to pivot between industries as a product manager. So let's jump right into it. A little bit about me. So, as I mentioned, I am a product manager, a senior product manager at Amazon within their transportation services team. And I've been in product management for 10 years now. But my journey into product management did not start in transportation. I've worked in multiple companies, and I actually started off in retail at Lowe's companies. And I think that helped me segue into my next opportunity, which was with the Delta Airlines, and then moving into Home Depot and Samsung. And I think one thing is quintessential throughout all of my experiences. I do have the great capability of pivoting and knowing how to upsell those skills that are important across industries and learn how to grow in the areas that need a little additional TLC. But before we jump into it, let's define pivoting. Pivot, the definition of pivot is the central point, pin, or shaft on which a mechanism turns or oscillates. Now, in business, pivoting typically means when a business makes a fundamental change in direction due to their current product or service offerings not meeting the needs of their customers. So it's a great reason to pivot. And then in basketball, pivot, the move of a pivot is when one foot stays on the ground and the other foot moves around it, trying to find an open player to transition the ball to. So as we get into this, let's think about these three things, or what we really want to cover and highlight today. Why do we pivot, or why do we have the desire to? When is the best time to pivot? And how do we pivot using our pivot power? So let's jump right into it. Why do you want to pivot? I can speak from my own experiences. A lot of times when pivoting opportunities presented themselves, it was due to either internal or external factors. But for me, a few things that kind of remained consistent were either I was feeling bored in my current role or looking for new challenges. I wanted to create new opportunities to stay relevant, be challenged differently, or either gain new perspective. But most importantly, every pivoting opportunity for me gave me an opportunity to reinvent my brand. So this has allowed me to be in product management for over 10 years, and I am an expert in a lot of different spaces due to my capabilities and ability to pivot. But ultimately, the reason you want to pivot is yours and yours only. Own it and make it your story. Make it a part of your journey and just learn to craft that messaging so that it comes off strong when you're speaking to potential employers or potential colleagues. So next, what were the signs? When did I know to pivot? For me, there was a few internal and external factors. One, from an internal perspective, was either slow or no career progress. I felt stagnant in my current role. I didn't see an opportunity for growth. So I knew it was time to start looking elsewhere. Or you're in a slow moving or extinct industry. This is a huge one. So there's definitely industries that have kind of come and gone. If you feel that you are in one of those industries that's not moving along with technology or not shifting the direction of the industry, it may be time to look to move into something else. Or you're just feeling a plateau. You've done it all, you've seen it all, you've been in this space for a while, it's time to try something new. And for external factors, job loss. Now, this, in my personal experience, has happened a few times where I've lost a job, and for me, that is the perfect time to pivot. Really look at what you're great at, what you're good at, look at other industries that may be of interest to you. Market changes. So as the market shifts, is there an opportunity for you to move in it? One of the beautiful things about market change is that it really breathes new life and allows you to kind of breathe new life into whatever direction that you may be wanting to move into. Or your perspective about the industry has changed. Maybe you used to love being in retail, but now it doesn't feel as exciting. You're wanting to do a little bit more impactful work, bigger scope, things of that nature. These are all reasons that you may want to make considerations of when to pivot. And again, it is your decision, it is your signs, but these are just a few that I saw within my own journey. But so how do I know the time is right? One great tool that we all know and love that we use in business is the SWOT analysis. But instead of doing it for a company or an opportunity, you do it for yourself. So you create a SWOT analysis of yourself, of your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities and threats. And you compare that to your company and industry and even your current role to really define, is this the right time? Am I working in a space where I see that there's a lot of opportunity, or there's a lot of strength in that space? If so, maybe it's not quite the right time to pivot. Or if you see that my current role, I'm seeing there's a lot of threats or weaknesses to my role, maybe it being eliminated, or maybe the role is not shifting or moving or evolving like the space is. All of these things are considerations that you want to take into account when you're thinking about, is this the right time for me to pivot? But I just want to make sure that I clarify that shifting is hard. It's not an easy thing to do, to shift from industry to industry. Why? Because most hiring managers want you to be the unicorn. You know, you look at these job postings and you see all of these different skills that they say are necessary for this role. But less than 5% of the industry or the marketplace has those actual skills that are necessary to meet all of the job requirements. So shifting is hard because most hiring managers want not only industry experience, but also role expertise. So you have to find ways to highlight the things that you have a lot of experience in, or a lot of expertise in, to kind of take away from the lowlights of having a lack of industry experience. So how do we transition? Let's think about it. A couple of ways to start the process is, one, ask yourself, what are your interests outside of work? What things invigorate you and make you excited? What are you reading? Naturally, what are you drawn to? What articles or publications do you read during your free time? And what problems are you interested in solving? I am a problem solver. As a PM, you are a problem solver. So look for industries where there might be big problems that you're really interested in solving. And are there products or services that you really love and boast and brag about to your friends and family? Those may be opportunities for you to get engaged in those industries as well. It's really easy to work on a product that you are very familiar with and that you love, even if you don't have that industry experience. These are all great ways to start the brainstorming process. Next, self-inventory. So doing a professional or personal audit of yourself. And here was a survey that was done that kind of highlights some of the most valued skills when hiring a PM by company. And as you can see, communication, product sense, strategic thinking, collaboration, a lot of these skills are soft skills. They're not technical skills, needing a technical background or needing analytical skills, things that you can learn. These are things that you learn on the job, and you can learn through a multitude of different roles within your experiences that can shift across industries. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about the shift. Play up those skills that you have that may be soft skills, that may not be the analytical or the data skills, but everyone needs them, and that is what really creates the most value in a product organization. Play up to those strengths, and if you don't have them, find opportunities to work on them in your current role, and grow your weaknesses. If there's things that you're not doing great at today, find opportunities to do it. If you can't find it in your current role, look for stretch roles. Look for roles to offer mentorship or partnership or even volunteering that's going to allow you to build those skills so that it becomes transferable across industries. Next, find industries of interest and look for directional trends, how your experience can create value. So for me, as I mentioned, I started off in retail, moved into travel, and then kind of back into retail. One of the things that I did that really helped kind of move me into that direction was finding things that I really had a passion for at the time. So at the time, I loved to shop. Shopping online was one of my favorite things to do. So why not work for a place that allows you to shop online or have a shopping online experience? And that's actually what I managed at Home Depot as well as Samsung. I managed the search experience for both of those places, which is a quintessential component of shopping online. So find ways and industries that will allow you to use some of your expertise and bridging the gap between where you are today and where you would like to go. It helps to create the value and helps to paint the picture for your potential employer. Next, you want to perfect your pitch to pivot your brand. What's your story? MBA turned engineer to PM, whatever your story is, tell it, create it, say it, and then perfect it. You have to find out what your value proposition is, what makes you special and different from all the other candidates out there that makes you the perfect person to pivot into this new industry. And sometimes, like I mentioned before, if we don't have the direct experience, find ways to craft it in other ways. Maybe you played a sport in high school that allowed you to create a lot of empathy for other players, or you did things in your personal time that helped you communicate better. That is a part of your journey and your story. Feel free to incorporate not only just professional experiences, but also personal experiences. That helps people connect to you and really creates a relationship and a bond between you that makes it stick a lot better when you're out there trying to perfect what it is that you are trying to create. And then next, get up and get out. You have to get up and get out and do something. It's important to reach out to people in the industry of interest, because typically when we're trying to shift industries, we don't have a lot of contacts in that industry. So it's important to get on LinkedIn, find people in that space, and have quick coffee chats with them. And be mindful, when you set up these coffee chats, it's not an opportunity for you to ask for them to refer you for a role, but it's really an opportunity for you to learn about them and learn about what they're doing. You can take little nuggets that you get from each person, and maybe that will help you craft your story into making sure that you're telling the right story that's going to be the most impactful for that industry. Also consider attending networking events in your industry. So in the industry of interest, most of them have some form of networking experiences, whether it be meetups or even LinkedIn groups. Join them, reach out to people, network with people that aren't necessarily within the space that you're in today, but you want to share your knowledge and learn more from them as far as what they love and enjoy and what they learn in their current space that they can share with you to help you transition into that industry. And then next, just create a new network. It's important to create a network within the industry that you're targeting so that it makes it a little bit easier to make the transition. And then once you get into the new industry, you now have a group of contacts that you can reach out to when you reach bumps in the road or you need help trying to work or think through some problems. So recap. Find your reason why. What's the reason for your pivot? As I mentioned, it is yours and yours to own. Next, when should you launch or when should you pivot? You come up with a launch plan of when you want to pivot. Sometimes life will throw you a bone, such as losing your job or market and industry changes, and feel free to use that bone as an opportunity to pivot. And how? Learn more about you, your interests, what you naturally gravitate to. Make sure you self-audit your skills and experiences. Learn more about the industry of interest and create relationships between your skills and your experiences in the industry. Perfect your pitch, meet people in the industry of interest, and just keep pushing along until you meet the role that's perfect for you. Don't be afraid to pivot. It's a beautiful thing. So that's all I have for today. If you have any questions, feel free to add them to the chat, and I'll get back to it right away. Thanks for watching.